you can't hear me. There we go. Good morning, Annie.
Here we go. There we go. Hello.
Look at your tropical paradise behind you there. What a setup.
I know. I'm just like living in the palms.
Love it. Where you're down in Adelaide, are you?
No, I'm in Sydney. I'm
in
Sydney.
So
I'm into the indoor plants. So I just sort of bring nature in with me.
I love it. So I've got my cup of tea. I'm all good. So I'm going to do a small introduction and then throw over to you. Is that okay? You ready to go?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
all right. So I am so excited to speak to you, Miss Annie, because we could all do with a little bit of magic at the moment. And I know that's one of your things. So I'm intrigued. So you have a lot of credentials to your name. You help women to be more, achieve more, earn more, which we all need. You're a speaker, you're a coach, you're an author, you're a podcast host, and you're a magician. So let's go there. And you're all about inspirational and dynamics and thriving in business and life, which is why you're so perfect for our summit. So you've got so many accolades: CEO of Glaucoma Australia, founder and CEO of Lipstick Consulting, founder of Magic Transformation, which I can't wait to get into, host of Memoirs of Successful Women podcast, which I can't wait to get stuck into as well, host of Women Collaborating Globally, director of Australasia College of Optical Dispensing, and director of MRKH Australia. Incredible. So, and, well, here's the thing that I don't know why it's not on here, because I read this somewhere and I thought, I think that should be number one of your accolades. I happen to know that you have 1 million children, including 2 sets of twins. Were they less than a year apart? 2
years, 26 months apart.
To be honest with you, just so Jenny's saying, wow, Annie, you're a superwoman. Jenny, bless her. Sorry, Jenny, I'm just going to disclose some of your personal info. Was wanting to be a mother for a long time, and then suddenly was the mother of 2 very quickly as well. So,
bless you, Jenny.
How do you do 2 lots of 2? So, I mean, to me, thriving from that is a success in life, full stop. But no, you have got on to create more, do more, inspire more, and you're just amazing. So I will shut up and ask you, how have you got to here? You know, which bits of your story do you want to tell us about how you now do what you do?
Yeah. Wow. Fantastic. Thank you so much, One, for that intro. That just actually feels weird when someone else says it about who you are. And I'm just so thankful for the opportunities that I've had, and so excited about being here. And I totally love your cup, by the way. I love that love heart. So it's a joy. Where do you start? I think we start at an event like this about saying, okay, well, it's about how do we become our best version of ourselves. So for me, yes, I run a program called Magic Transformation, and I'm all about being more, achieving more, earning more. But in that, and in my life experience, that's right, of having 5 children, including 2 sets of twins, and then, you know, navigating 3 different degrees the hard way to then become a manager and then a CEO, and then now on boards and things like that. How do we actually do that without, you know, losing ourselves, without it becoming so overwhelming? And, you know, the strive and the thrive and the desire can be so strong that we can actually, you know, neglect ourselves. So I'll probably talk through a little bit about that. And I've brought some props to actually help me. So I very much want to say, what are my learnings? My learnings are that you say you've got a water bottle.
Yeah.
Got the fill line, right? And so we know where the fill line is. And you know, if you're at a bar and they've got the line for you, you can have a small or a large. And if you're just drinking your water bottle, you know what it is. The thing is that I have learned through my experiences that we all actually have a different fill line. And that's really important to know. What is our capacity? Because I know I'm a high energy, high capacity person. Now, I might have been, and I actually was even from childhood. But then sometimes through our experience, like me learning how do you even have twins at 23 and have twins at 25? How do you then go and navigate going back to uni because you believe it's going to be good for you while suffering the mummy guilt and the wanting to do everything and all that sort of stuff? And then through those challenges and the career growth and the skills that we learn, you can actually, get a different feel zone. So what I want to tell you all is that, I have learnt, and then those I coach, some people have got a feel line of here. They actually just crack, at a lower level. It doesn't mean that they're not as good. They're already, that's just the way their makeup is, right? And I've got kids like that now. So it's really watching young adults and I go, gosh, you could put some effort into it, but they are, right? They are putting effort for them. So knowing where your fill line is has been a massive thing. The next prop is, I want to show you. This is, it's actually got, I was going to do food coloring for you, but it's actually red wine because it's that time of year and I didn't have food coloring. This is actually Annie, or you, at your full potential. This is like a shot of gorgeous goodness, right? So it's all about saying, for me, what have I learned? What does Annie need to actually be all guns firing? This is my little shot of Annie. For me, I make magic happen. I'm like the fairy godmother and go, have a dash of this, have a dash of that. Whether you're on my boot camp, whether you're in my program, whether I'm just meeting people, I want to go, what actually makes me in my zone, on my fire zone? And so some of it is my skills and my expertise. And a lot of it to keep me concentrated is actually, what am I removing from my life? What is not adding value to me? What is exhausting me? What is cluttering me? Because I need here, my 3 favorite words here are clarity, simplicity, and focus. And if I have clarity around what makes me me, uniquely me, and I'm pretty quirky and fun, but not everyone's cup of tea. Clarity around my skill set and where I am firing, where I'm at, simplicity about getting it zoned in and not worrying about all those things. If someone says, well, you shouldn't have done this because you're not good enough or you think you're amazing or whatever, I used to worry about that stuff. And now I go, that actually diluted me. Now I go, no, I actually go, this is good for me, right? So I know what my Annie shot is, and I can talk on and on and on about this. I've got 2 more props for you. Okay, so this is what's probably happening to all of us at the moment. And this is why we're here at this gorgeous summit, right? Because you've got your dose of Annie, and I put my little one shot in, but I've got an open funnel. The year has happened. And if you're like me, ladies, everything, what pops into your zone, right? You're just overcommitted. You're now shopping, you're homeschooling, you're buying Christmas presents, you're doing your work, you're going, oh my gosh, I'm going to leave work. So now I've got to work like a maniac so that I can actually have a holiday, right? And I've learned in my experiences that as a woman, as a mum, I just used to say yes to everything. So I put oh yeah, I want to be a good person. I could do that. I could do that. And so not only am I past my fill line, I'm actually dribbling over. I'm just oozing. And look at the concentration on Annie, right? If I did a food coloring, it'd be even lighter. There's like not much of you. You're not going to be highly impactful because you've actually overfill zone, you've no time for you and diluted. All right. This is when I actually came to start and I said, okay, well, what actually should be taken out of that diluted version of me in my life and you for your life, and actually get that same coloring and go, okay, on this one, this is where we're at this summit. How do we actually, reconnect with ourselves, reset ourselves, rejuvenate and go, I can't be a power pack 24/7. That's exhausting for me and definitely everybody around me. I've got to save that for the special moments. And so I work on an 80-20 rule. 80% of the time, I actually want to be like my jug that's at its fill line. And I know what is a really good fit. So I've got more concentration. I'm in my zone. And then on my next 20%, I can then do things that we can talk about today, which is all about, well, how do we reset and rejuvenate and look after ourselves so we can put in the little extra dashes? And so hence my program is all about magic transformation. And so this is how I see my life, ladies. I actually go, I've got my little Annie shot in here and I nurture that. I look at this time of year and I hopefully do it throughout the year and go, how do I actually go? I am at the base, right? I'm in tune with where I am, and I'm actually now able to add more and more things. So what are we doing now? We're reconnecting with the people that we want to connect with. It's intentional. We're preparing things that we want to do for the new year because they're of value, not exhausting us. We're spending time going on beach walks, or just actually adding to our health, doing some more home cooking. We're adding, and you'll see why I love the magic pot, because it's actually, I choose very intentionally what comes in, and I don't just leave it like the open funnel, right? So it doesn't just fall into my world, and I don't want it to fall into your world, because otherwise you get to this stage where a lot of people are at. The amount of people I've heard this week who've gone and said, I'm just exhausted. I'm limping to the finish line. Like, what a terrible thing to say about Christmas. We're limping to the finish line, right? So, and that's because they're overflowing. They're diluted. Their environment is sapping all their energy, and they've got no concept of what their little shot is about them anymore. So this is perfect timing, and I'm so happy that you've got this summit today and at this time, because this is a really good time for you to think about how to bring that little magic spark back into you, and what is it for you. So big intro. Sorry about that, Sally. I got excited.
I love so much about that. I also love your courage to have all those liquid jars right next to your tech. that shows me you're an incredible woman right there. And I hope they're all sherry and various degrees of delicious Christmas. So what I heard, and I'm going to distill it down, do you see what I did there? Is that I love this. We have to have clarity over who we are. What makes me, Sally, be my best self? What is that? I have to get really clear over that, and then that will be my little shot. That's me concentrated. And then what happens if I'm not careful over the infectious enthusiasm? Absolutely, Camilla. Over the course of the year, if I haven't been careful, I've been diluted and diluted and diluted, and more stuff has gone onto me. And where's me, my essence of what makes me me and makes me shine and makes me special, about my special gifts into the world, gets so diluted that I'm almost lost in that.
Yeah.
So what we want to do is to keep ourselves in a beautiful crystal jar, distiller, and look at ourselves now and say, here's me again. I'm going to choose what I put in. Does it make me more me? Is it, I guess the way I look at it a little bit, does it give me energy, or does it take energy away from me?
100%.
Is it drawing from me, or is it filling my cup? And I love the analogy with the you've got the stopper. So we're not just here for everybody to take. And
exactly.
Mum knows how that feels, because you turn into this, it's beautiful, our capacity to be absolutely selfless and give. It's what we want to do. But there's a limit to how our essence gets diluted, I guess. And at some point, we're going to want to get us back. And so it's being conscious of that stopper and where that boundary is. And so should I allow this in, or should I not? I just love that. So thank you. Did I distill that properly?
Oh, I thought you distilled it beautifully. Absolutely. And then even, from my magic thinking, you've even got the potential that if this is a real shot and I intentionally add things into my pot, I add in date night every Friday night with my husband, and we been married for 33 years because I highly value it. And because he aligns with encouraging me to be my best self, he actually adds the same concentration virtually. Do you know what I mean? So even this, as it feels, can be a stronger. This is why some people go and say, well, how do you make things look effortless? You just zip in and out and it's cruisy. It's because you've got your whole intense package happening. Because if I add in, if I went on a board and I went, okay, well, I want to join that board because it really is, it adds value to me, or I add value to them and it's purposeful, I'll pop it in. If one of my kids asked me to do something that's totally ridiculous that they should have done themselves, and it's a learning curve because they're young adults now, well, many of us will relate to that, I'll actually go and say, no, sorry, I can't actually give out at the moment because, you know, I'm doing something else that's of more value. So even for your family, you know, and so it's knowing, and this is where it was a hard lesson for me, you know, particularly when I had all the kids and I had so much guilt, or I remember going off to university and go, oh my gosh, and other people would be going, oh, how do you look after your children when you're doing all those, you know, that university for yourself? And I'm like, whoa, talk about mother smack. And I'm like going, okay, well, because I knew my value. So that's one of the things I learned, and I help people with actually knowing, you know, what do you value? If you got a list of 300 values in front of you, do you know what they are? And so for me, along my journey, I learned that my values were, for me, it's freedom. One of them is freedom to be who I am unashamedly, unapologetically. Actually, it's okay if 99% of people don't relate to that, that's okay. It's about being able to achieve more in the things that I feel add value to me or others. It's about me being able to have the freedom to be an entrepreneur and have an income that is a blessing to me, my family, and those that I serve as well. And I even offer scholarships. So I worked out that freedom that was important for me to know, because that freedom drives what I allow to enter my world, right? I then also learnt, you know, that I am driven by a value of adding value and impact. And that's why I'm a for purpose CEO. That's why I still do that job of an eye health charity. And that's why I'm on a board, which is for purpose, for MRKH, which is a women's board of women who are born without a uterus and parts of their reproductive system, because I really feel their need for support. So that drives me to go, well, why do I fill my time? Because we've all got 24 hours, right? Every day. So we choose how to spend them. And that's really important that you know. So I choose what gives me freedom to do, be, achieve, and earn. I add impact to those that I worked with, and that allows me to, you know, have my program and get excited as everyone achieves their wins all the time. And then I value family. I value my family. I had these 5 children for a reason. You know, I didn't expect 2 sets of twins in 2 years, but I love them. You know, it was intentional. I love my little granddaughter now. She's 3. I want to make sure that I have time to have her in my life. And so that's intentional. So even at this time of year, ladies, you know, don't wait till January to start looking at your calendar. What have I already done this week? I've actually gone and looked at my calendar next year, and I've gone and put in, like, Thursday night is my granddaughter's sleepover night. So I go, Lizzie sleeps over. I can't do something. I'm full. Right? I put in Friday night date nights because I've been doing it for 35 years and it's worked, right? Friday nights, I'm busy. I've put in our holidays that are important, a family holiday and other, you know, events. I've put in things for me that are really important. Like I'm a trekker, so I want to have mountain climbs and bits and pieces. So I put in my training times and what I want to achieve, because I need to know very clearly what drives me, what my values are, and what are those things before I add others, because we don't have an infinite amount of hours. We've got 24. And so every day I want to be intentional about what I do. And I am intentional when I set a calendar that actually says, oh, sorry, I don't have room at the moment because you know, I can adjust those, but I'm not going to crowd it. Otherwise, I'll end up to my overflowing jar. And then I'll go, oh, and then people go, weren't you going to go on a hike this year? And I go, oh yeah, work was just too busy, right? Or, you know, weren't you going to go to this special occasion with your child? Oh no, I had to speak at a conference. I didn't have to speak. I chose. We choose. That's what I've learned. I can't blame. I used to blame people or my circumstance or other people, you know, situations, to go, I couldn't because. And now I actually go, I can do anything. I actually choose how I spend that, and I'm responsible for that. So I may as well work out what my little Annie shot is, work out what my right level is, and then always make myself at that core, which is not selfish. I tell you what, it's the best investment ever, because I'm a little power pack now, I have so much more to give out. You know that, like, if you're I remember, you go to archery or something and you pull back and then you go, right? That is so much better. So we're at a time of year now, at this gorgeous time. If we look at resetting and rejuvenating, we're actually pulling back and then going, right, where am I going to focus? Where is my clarity? How do I make it simple? Where am I targeting? Who do I actually really want to see? Do I have to see 50 people this Christmas? Or do I actually just need to go, these 5 are my most valuable people in my life. I need to spend more time with them. And you don't have to do everything, How about I take some actual mental health days and go for a nice walk, or spend some time, or read, or sleep, do these things that actually go, I'm removing the clutter, and I'm actually getting back to an appropriate level of me, so that every time then when you're doing things, you actually go, I'm happy. I'm at a good balance, and I'm at 80%. I always try it out when I mentioned that before. I like to go, I'm at 80%, which is weird for people because they go, no, you're on 100% all the time. I'm not, because I know what my 80% is, and 80% is good. But that allows me to do my little magic shots. And we always have we have moments of magic all the time. Every day there'll be something that you go, because I wasn't full, I could, talk to that person who was homeless. I could give that extra phone call to my child to check on how they're going because they were dealing with something at work. I can, make an extra little gorgeous little, decorate the table. So, I feel special, and my husband says, oh, you're awesome, babe, whatever, I can do things intentionally because they add value to my life and those I love, rather than always being too full. So my message is just tone it down and work out what your fill rate is, and then pull back another 20%. Okay, full is 80%. You want to be at 80% so you can have the little shot.
Amazing. There's so many directions I want to go in, because you've given us so much. I will start by saying your smile is just infectiously effervescent, and you can see the joy exuding from you. And who wouldn't want to have a mum or a grandma that's that full of vital energy? So to that message, when we feel guilty that we're topping ourselves up, 100% agree that I haven't fully learned it yet, as in can action it, but I fully agree that you have to look at you now and how much you can give, because you learn how to value yourself and keep yourself. So I bet you can chase your kids around the garden still, and just amazing. So I wanted to say that first, and then I wanted to come to the comments. We've got wonderful analogies. Thank you. So I agree. Thank you. And Camilla said, I'm adding more gin. That's when you were saying you can. And I think that's
good night, girls.
But I think it's such a good point, because I love that you brought that in. So it's not just us in that jar. It's that we can choose, and it's acknowledging that others bring us stuff too, whether it's environment and nature or people. I think that's so important too, because and when I saw that, Camilla, I kind of thought, absolutely, like you can have gin, and then you can go pick some organic sloe berries and you put them in, and that's even more, that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts sometimes, but only if you choose what the parts are. So that, I suppose, brings us back to the choosing thing, and this is like a big thing of mine too. Absolutely, that we always have a choice. I was speaking about this yesterday. We always have a choice, don't we? Even when the circumstances are really shit and really challenging, and you wouldn't think that you've chosen that. You have a choice as to how you react within about that.
So much, Sally. I mean, I remember I did such dumb things. Now I look back, now that I'm so chilled out and on top of it and in my zone, and were they dumb at the time? I stressed over them. I cried over them. Like, think of Christmas Day. We had a situation that both families told us, we both, my family and my in-laws family both one had a Christmas lunch, one had a Christmas dinner. and we had to go. So here I am with these 4 babies, and they then became 5 babies, and like they're already, you know, like off their rockers by 10 o'clock in the morning because they've been up by 4 because of Santa and all that. And you're struggling through a Christmas day, and then you get to Christmas dinner and none of them want to eat, and they're all being feral, and you're just like, oh my gosh, and I'm like, bad mom, whatever. And then you come home and go, nightmare, like Christmas is a nightmare. And I did this, I think, for about 10 years, 12 years. And then one day I went and said, no, actually we need to future plan because this is not working for our family. So what I would really love, and then I went and said, why don't you ask for what you want, right? So I went and said, what I would really love is one of them being Christmas Eve, so that we can have an event and the kids would be a bit tired and jump into bed. And then another one could be, you know, maybe Christmas lunch or Christmas dinner, and then just one. I can only do one. I mean, let's think about it. I was popping these four children, babies, 8 sets of shoes and gear and boxes and stuff. It was just crazy. And so, you know what, and they're like going, oh, but that's going to throw it out. I went, oh, well, that's okay, because I have a choice. I'm I'm happy to own it. I will just come every second year, and that's okay with me. And then anyway, they accepted it, they changed it. And then I went, oh my goodness, why did I do that for 10 years? So the thing is, you can ask, you also can't demand, you know, they might have said that didn't work. And then I would have gone, okay, well, I'll take it, and I will come every second year. And that's actually got to be okay, because it's good for my fix. You know, I still I want to love Christmas with my family. I don't want to be this exhausted psycho woman who the kids remember mum being nuts at Christmas, right? Which is what is possible, right? And you go, that's crazy. So I'm using that as an analogy because we do that with so many things. I mean, I remember one of my daughters had like 15 hours of dance a week because she was really into her dancing. And then you had 3 sons with all their soccer trainings, and the other youngest daughter, she just tagged along and came to all the drop-offs and pick-offs. And, you know, and in there I was still working in bits and pieces, and you just go, you know, and I'd go and say, oh, it's so exhausting and I'm so tired. But I chose to enroll them in those things. You know, you have ownership. So it's got to say, you know, that's where I learned that, oh my gosh, like actually having 2 sets of twins and doing nothing was probably way over the fill line. So I have to do everything that creates an environment that actually helps me feel right. And then actually then say, okay, well, because of that, you know, maybe my reality is the kids can only do one activity. And will they be in therapy for the rest of their life? No. Did any of them end up becoming an Olympian? No, they probably didn't have that skill set, but they're still happy kids. So, you know, and I can do that in work. I can just fill in lots of projects and be involved in everything. And you go, no, I don't have to do everything. And so there's this weird desire, and I don't know why it is that we think we have to be all things to all men and all, you know, it's like, no, you're not a bad person. And I learned that. You just go, you're still lovely. And even if you're not that lovely, you know. And so, but it's not adding value just by trying to give a diluted version. That's what I look at it now. And that's why I love that visual for you ladies, because I go, yeah, you're doing all those things, but they're just seeing this diluted version of you. So you're doing your best.
Yes.
Actually not even giving you're giving a fake you.
Yes.
Right? And so when people think of other people being fake, they're thinking of them as, you know, your big lips and boobs and bits and bobs, right? That's actually a version of fake, but fake is actually not allowing yourself to be the person that you were born to be. And that's robbing you. It's robbing those who love you. It's robbing the world of their experience of you. And so if you are running on fumes, then they're actually getting a distorted fake version of you. And so why bother?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at. Why bother? Don't worry about it.
Thank you for sharing a bit of your, you know, your personal story. And I'm going to disclose here too. This was something that I struggled with. I still struggle with to a degree, but for a long time, I realized I spent all of me on my kids, because when my came along, they were the most important thing, and I just wanted to do my absolute best by them, and that was my absolute priority. But it did mean I had to change career just because I couldn't continue with my psychology registration because I was overseas, so I kind of lost my career and was thrown into this different world, and my whole thing was consumed by my children, which was a choice. But I was absolutely exhausted. I was concerned how to earn money. We had a lot going on. And what I would consume myself with at night, even though I was giving my all to my kids because that was my choice, I realized that they're seeing the worst version of me. Because before then, my life was pretty sorted and I had loads of energy and I spent my whole time doing things that filled me. And now suddenly I'd lost all that. Wasn't their fault, but I struggled with that for a long while. As how do I give them my all but still have something for me, because I don't want them to see me. I've never been stressed and tired before, and now I'm stressed and tired, and that's all. That's their life, you know. So I struggle with that. So I'm really interested to know, what was the point for you? Was it just a crack where you just went, I can't do everything anymore, you know, of the 5 children and the having to go? What was the point for you? Was there a big moment or a decision where you went, you know, you had
Enough.
realization?
Yeah. Mine was complex, and it's related to a complex trauma, but I'm happy to share it. I had a lot of struggle with the relationship with my mother. So this, you know, it's deep, and we don't have time to share here, but, you know, never good enough. You're not the right sort of mum, you know, you're not the right sort of wife, because she had views of who I should be. And so here I am sitting there going, okay, at 18, I went, I want to be a businesswoman. I think I'd have really good skills. And, you know, all this stuff you say to yourself. And then suddenly I had twins at 23 and twins at 25 and went, oh, it's getting really hard to be that businesswoman. I must have been dreaming, right? You know, how is this all possible? And so I wrestled with I love being the mom, but I did want to do things, not just, you know, for a bit of the earning potential later on, but actually finding out, because I had my kids so young and because I got married at 20, I was still growing into myself. And so it was a moment when I was about 32 and we'd had this traumatic time at the park, we had to do the family dues, and so it was stressful because I was sexually assaulted when I was a child, and so this person was at the family picnic, and I was stressed. It just pushed me over my stress levels, and what happened was, instead of it being stressful for me, I could tolerate that stress, but all of a sudden my mummy heart was stressed. I was stressed with my children, and you know, this big thing happened, and I blew up, and I said, I'm out of here. We're not coming to these things anymore, whatever. But I went home, and it wasn't about that, and I don't want to unpack that. What happened was I went home and I just sobbed, and I had one of these moments, and I went and said, I just think there's more. And that's why I'm into be more, achieve more, earn more now. I just feel like there's more. There's more to why am I so stressed, and why am I giving up so much myself so someone else feels comfortable, someone else feels better? And then I was guilty because it was family, and you have to do things for family. And I learned, and I had to go to a psychologist for this, I learned that, you know, that is their problem and their issue, and you know, we've all got to have our own walk. But I didn't have to do that. So I learned a lot through this time, and my husband ended up coming out of this when mummy's not happy, nobody's happy. And I love that, right? And he tapped into, well, what's going to make you happy, babe, right? And I went, I just feel like I need to own me. I need to know who I am. And I'm not just, because then by this stage, I'm just called the twins mum. You know, who's that? Oh, that's the twins mum. I didn't even have a name. I was called the twins mum for like a decade, 15 years.
With all those children.
Yeah, right. So it's just like, oh, that's the twinnies mum, you know, whatever. And so I had to learn my identity. I had to learn, you know, and because I was always giving out, and so, you know, I had the potential to be overloaded every day. And so it was this crack moment of, you know, 2 sayings actually, and that's why I love the visuals and the easy stuff, right? Keep it simple. My husband has the happy wife, happy life, and if mummy not happy, nobody happy. And that's pretty much true. That summed it up. That stopped me going, okay, when I'm not happy, you know, I'd go and paint this picture. So I got into vision boarding and who I was, and I was creating, this is who I think I am. And then he's going, okay, well, when you react and when you flare up, because do you mind if I say to you that's a mummy not happy moment? And I go, wow, okay. And I had to be brave, because who wants to be told off when you're having a moment, right? You just go, it's not a moment. But it really worked, and I got this awareness. I intentionally went, I want to have awareness about what choices I'm making and who I'm allowing in my environment, you know. And even with my analogy here, this is my this is only my inner sanctum moment. You know, there'll be plenty of people just on the outside who support, but that, you know, for my key decisions that actually make me happy and healthy and confident and empowered and believing, because you only ever achieve what you believe. So for me to be that, I have to be in an environment that says stop, which is what we're doing now, reset. Why am I going to this picnic that drives me crazy and makes me think my kids are at risk? Why am I overloading myself on Christmas and just being exhausted and falling asleep on the couch at 6 o'clock and the kids just go, Mummy was cranky today, right? Break your heart. Why do I do these? And then I learned a lot about my values. What do I actually value? And when I actually looked at the values list and you go, you can't value all, you have to pick a top 5. And then I went, wow, that to me, connecting my purpose and myself to my values, to what's in my magic potion. I'll tell you what, it changed my life. And I know it will for you ladies, like to actually reset in that way. It worked. And that was at 32 and I'm 53 now. And I tell you what I do, you know, life happens, like shit happens all the time. And that's why we've got to save that 20% zone, because sometimes you're doing your magic shots. Other times you're just going, thank God I've got this 20%, because I actually need to do nothing at the moment, because I have to drop everything and be there for a child who's having something, you know, someone's died, I'm not well, whatever, you know. And then you learn to not get to this state. I don't want to even have a cycle of every year we limp to the finishing line. I actually want to go, you know, wouldn't it be great if we actually just powered along? We had ebbs and flows, you know. That's what I aim for anyway.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much for sharing, you know, your personal story, a little bit of your personal story. I actually think it helps so much us, other women, because sometimes it seems hard for some people to get, you know, it might just seem like that level of happiness and exuberance is just, you were born with it and here you are, that's not me. So I actually think sharing a little bit of your story is really powerful. So thank you, because it helps us all to go, we've all had a journey and this is achievable for anybody with some tips and tools and effort, and you have a choice. So thank you so much for that. And what I'd love to get to is, because loving your analogy, loving your wisdom, I guess let's try and nail it down a little bit for our women. How do we do this, right? So what I've heard so far is, for some, you know, practical tips, we've got to start with revisiting who we are. So getting clarity over who we are. And this is a brilliant time to start to do that. Revisiting values, revisiting what makes us happy. And then you said right at the beginning, you know, and then looking at everything that's in your life, and that includes things, people, and anything else in your environment that's, you know, maybe mentally, that's not helping you to be the version of you that you want to be, that power shot. So making conscious choices around what you can let go of for next year to bring your essence out a little bit more. That's something we can do, isn't it? And then for those people who feel right now completely in the large juice jar, you know, just diluted, overflowing, overwhelmed, this all sounds great, but where the hell do I start to get myself still down? Where should we start? What are your top tips for kind of starting the process of distilling and undiluting yourself?
Yeah. I think my top tips are that you don't go from diluted to shots. You know, that's the fake world. That's the quick fix overnight. You know, I've got a very, very classic, you know, improve yourself 1% every day. And sometimes you have to then remove things 1% every day, right? Because that's it. You know, particularly for those who've been mum, you know, you're pregnant for 9 months and then you don't just bounce back unless you're a supermodel or have all those extra aids. You know, stuff happens. And so it's not normal and it's not helpful, particularly to your mental health, to go, oh my God, well, like that lady's amazing. Well, then it's then intimidating, right? It's like, well, I can't be that. So therefore maybe I'm even less in control of what, where I'm at. So it should always be empowering. My view is that you get used to writing things down. So if you start thinking in my sort of analogies today, write down, even all the things that are filling your pot. If I went and said, okay, you've got an empty jar now, and go, what is in your pot at the moment? What are all the things that you're doing day after day after day? And then if I said to you, like I do with my values exercise when I'm coaching, I go and say, okay, well, you've got to pick the top 5. What are they? And then all you have to rate them. And then, okay, well, what's number 16, 17, and 18? And you'll go, but I have to do that, or I need to do that. You go, well, does it add value to you? Is it really, helpful, or it's in your overload? You've got to chuck something out of your boat. This is a time of year to actually cut off. So just cut one, and then cut another one. So it's twofold, right, Sally? It's removing the unnecessary and actually getting back to what's appropriate. You're superhuman, you're super amazing. We don't have to, we just have to be. You don't have to be this over level, it's that you're enough just being you, right? But it's knowing, well, what is that? So there's removing the distractors and the things that you do for other people. That's their problem, their need, so you don't have to do that. The other part is, so that's the external. And then there's a real choice to go, you know what, I'm of value. How am I going to build myself up? And that's where I've changed a lot over the last decade, that I actually really look at, what do I eat? How do I sleep? What do I feed myself? How much do I drink? How do I exercise? Because if I'm not a priority and I'm not the best version inside, then even when I remove distractors, I'm still going to be only half of my real self. So it's both sides. So one, definitely flick a few things, and sometimes you get to the end of the year and those things will disappear, because you're on a break. The choice now is actually to have the awareness to go, I'm not going to start them in the new year. What am I going to actually put in my new year? What's going to be in my inner sanctum? What's appropriate? And actually having boundaries that you go, learning to go, sorry, I would like to, however, I'd have to give something up. You don't just add, which is what we do. So I now go and say, okay, well, once I've got to that state, and that state might take you 6 months, have a goal. Those in my Magic Transformation Program, they'll either do a 6 months or a 12 months. And sometimes it usually takes that full 12 months to get yourself like, firing and having total awareness and choosing and all that sort of thing. And that's okay. You don't have to do it overnight. But if you do 1 or 2 of those things, and then do another 1 or 2 after Christmas, and then you're going to go, wow, you're just going to have so much more energy and you're going to be happier, and that's what success is. How do you measure success? I suppose you want to ask yourself, so for me, it's success on my own terms. It's success on your terms. So you've got to know what are your terms. And for me, they strongly equate with for purpose. I'm doing something for purpose. I have balance, and I'm happy. Yeah. So when I do something, does it think I'm doing it for who I am, not anyone else on the planet? Is it my calling for me or someone else? It's not all me focused. So is it for purpose? And therefore I need to know my purpose. Is it balanced amongst all the other things that I value and doesn't throw them out? And at the end of the day, am I happy? Is happy wife, happy life? Is it mummy happy, everyone's happy, right? It's actually pretty simple when you start thinking that. So then suddenly something will want to lob into my jar and I'll go, oh, sorry, I would love to help you. However, I'm currently full, I'll keep that in mind, because I have to make that mental choice. If I add this in, what am I taking out? Yeah. And then it makes it very easy. Yeah. Am I going to then take out my gorgeous granddaughter Lizzie and not do my Thursday night sleepover, which is so precious? Yeah. No. Yeah. Am I going to not go on, date night with my hubby on a Friday night? No. Am I not? But am I going to give up, some little work project because something else better came and I can offload that? Yes. So I make those choices. Yeah. But it takes a while. So ladies, it takes a while, and that's okay.
It does. It takes a while, and it also takes a while to be okay with it once you've got the habit of doing it. And I think that's a huge thing, isn't it? No, get rid of that guilt. Get rid of the fear of how do they feel about you because you've said no. Get all of that we don't have time to go into now. But that's the thing, isn't it? And that doesn't happen overnight. So you take the actions, change the behaviours, but be okay with it, because and you've given us all the tools, you've given us all the wisdom of how to do that, which is prioritizing ourselves, because that's really important to ourselves and to everybody around us. So it's really, really taking that in and knowing that on a deep, innate level, that has to be the priority and the value. And then you can say the no's, then you can say, no, I'm really sorry, without the guilt and without the thing, because you know why you're doing it. Yeah. So
when you know it, when you know it with such clarity, that helps you in those hard times, because there will be hard times. I had 4 kids for 2 years, and then when I said I'm going to go off and do a master's degree because I wanted to move from nursing to management, and I wanted to have my stepping stones. Now, for someone, those stepping stones might have been, if I was a man and I did my MBA straight out of school and didn't have 5 kids, I would have been well on my way. For my journey, I didn't become a CEO till I was 43, because I did have 5 children, and I did do it in stepping stones, and I did 9 classes. And at those times, many of those are hard. It's hard to get out the door. Someone's sick or has a runny nose or was crying because you're leaving or this or that, whatever. And so you need to know why you're doing it. What is your why? And that, with 100% certainty, and removing the guilt. I could feel guilty, but, now the family go, well, so great, mum went off and did all those courses and did these things, so having the clarity and knowing what your shot is your saving grace, because when you're in the rocky roads, you won't then be easily distilled. Yeah. And that's what I want you to think about, otherwise it's very easy to get distracted, and it's because you're not focused on the bigger picture, why you do what you do.
Absolutely. So having that why, and I think that's something we can all visit, because your why changes. So it's something to visit and to make sure you're still in line with, because otherwise it won't be powerful enough to pull you back on the road when those distractions do come across. So I could talk to you all day, Annie. I'm absolutely loving this. Thank you so much. But I'm aware of time, and I want to ask you the 3 questions I'm asking everybody on this summit, because we are all about reconnecting, resetting, and rejuvenating. So Annie, these holidays, what or whom are you going to be reconnecting with?
I'm going to be reconnecting with, particularly for me, I had a son who got married a year ago, and my other son now is a dad. I want to reconnect with them in the next stage of their life. I want to intentionally spend more time, not just to come for Christmas Day, but I want to actually go, okay, well, that's going to be, I want to have a day where I, go for a bike ride with them or an adventure or something or other, and actually go, I want to reconnect with who you are becoming. Because, a lot of our talk is we're talking about becoming us. These young people changing from a child to adults now who are learning about themselves and having their own challenges in COVID, and then becoming parents and moving towns and things. So I think I want to reconnect, even though I'm not, and I wouldn't say I'm disconnected, but I want to reconnect in a deeper way with them, just to make sure that I enter the new year really understanding this new view. Because often you'll get people who go, you don't know me. And I've had that feeling, because they know you as a child, so reconnecting in that way. How do I reset? I'm actually, doing all my calendar, just before, I've got a week now, I finish on the 23rd. So I'm actually resetting by looking at the programs. I'm making three free boot camps at the moment for January. I've got another book coming out on twins. I'm doing bits and pieces, but I want to reset and go, okay, if I know what's on my dream list, how am I going to make sure that I still have that balance and happiness? And so I want to reset my levels, and very much what we've been encouraging you to do today. What's extra that I really am just doing, but it's not adding value? And rejuvenate is actually just to have a break. We never stop. So I want to, go and have that massage, go and do a little bit of extra exercise, but not intensely, just to enjoy. I love nature. Nature refuels me. So I actually love going a bit off grid and just being, and I learn a lot from nature. And so I think for me, you know, that will really rejuvenate my heart and my soul, and allows me when I'm out there, because I'm addicted to technology, but when I go hiking I take nothing, and so I can then be grateful. I can have times I find I've entered a whole new world of gratitude, and that actually rejuvenates me when I can see acknowledge my blessings, acknowledge the wins that the women that I've coached have had over the year, realizing that confirms that value that I want to have to make a difference, you know, actually taking time to take stock for me. So there's a little bit of, you know, do your nails, do your lashes, bits and pieces, but it's probably a deeper soul rejuvenation to make sure that I know I come back in the new year with a nice clear shot of who I am and what my balance is, what my 80% is, and consciously aware of how I want to fill my 20% if and when it happens.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. And I think there's everybody would benefit from doing these things right at this time of year, anytime, but specifically after the year that we've had. So you have given us some great tools. You know, there can't be anybody now who's thinking, I don't know where to start, because you've given us plenty of places to start to do this. And I think it's so important we do, because the world needs us. The world needs energetic, ready to go women to change this world. So let's go and let's get ready to do it next year. So thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking with you, Annie. You're a powerhouse of a lady. You're absolutely incredible. Thank you so much. We've had lovely comments, I know, here too. We're going to, well, where can people find you? I'm going to send it out, obviously, in all the emails, but where's the best place for people to find you and follow you and come with you on your amazing journeys, transformation?
Yeah, so just go to Annie Gibbins with an I, Gibbins, anniegibbins.com, and through there you'll find out about my free boot camps, my magic program, my coaching options. I've got free resources there, so just go anniegibbins.com/free, and you'll get some books. Actually, a couple that will really help you right now. One's on mindset, just a really easy book on mindset mastery, and another one on self-care. And there's another one actually on affirmations. So if you want to just go and get those 3 gems, that will be a really great blessing for you. And then you'll see all my social and follows from there. So yeah, stay connected. I'd love to get to know you more.
Completely will. And thank you so much. I think you've helped so many women. So thank you, Annie. Thank you.
Pleasure.